This one here, in terms of the ends of the trusses not being blocked and there just being a large open space where air could travel between floors, was passing under the uninsulated floor, the second floor for instance, was able to travel freely into ceiling space above the first floor. And that, what we're looking at is an attic, and what we're thinking about is hot attic air being able to travel freely into the ceiling of the first floor and into the floor of the second floor and create a variety of moisture and comfort problems. One of the most frequent occurrences, again you would have seen this, but one of the, as you did the walk around the house, but one of the most frequent occurrences that impacts the integrity of the exterior walls, when there's the audit wants to know what the structure of those walls are and what the basic system is, but we also are looking for trades visitors that have come by the house over the years and added various features to the house, like this hole in the side of it, and he may have only wanted to stick that cable through there, and plumbers are terrible about it, communications cable guys are terrible about it, but you have places where air, moisture, insects, pests can enter the house, and what we look at is opportunities to seal that up and keep moisture and air and other problems out. This is that home of the couple, lawyers, unbelievably, or scarily, that kept their home set at 62 degrees, and this is the result of what condensation can do on when hot, humid air touches 62 degree walls. It's going to condense every time, all the time, and there's very little that mold finds more attractive than continuous moisture, other than continuous moisture, cellulose, and darkness. Windows. There's a lot of, since 2002, say, there has been a change since Texas adopted a code in residential buildings. There has been a vast transformation in the window product that's been installed, but prior to that, we were probably one of the largest markets in the world for single pane aluminum windows, and when we were trying to adopt the code, one of the people that got in my face most frequently about what a bad idea that was a manufacturer of windows, and his other main product was, other than aluminum windows, was horse trailers, and that was kind of the standard of quality that was going into the windows that were going into a very large number of homes in Texas. And happily, since 2002 approximately, we've been putting better windows, double pane windows, coated windows, performance coated windows into our homes, and so that we haven't got all the same kinds of issues. This, what this graphic is showing is just that this is a coated window, and you can tell because there's an extra reflection behind there's actually 3 reflections. It's very hard to see. You can't read anything from this which tells you a correct software input. You can't read what the solar heat gain coefficient of a window is from doing this test, but you can tell whether or not it's a coated window, whether it's a double pane window, and that's one of the things that the auditor is checking for. Doors. Oh, and I should have told you about windows. About 40% of the heat gain, of the air conditioning load on a house is coming through the windows. So a big opportunity, and an awful lot of the moisture and air leakage problems are also window associated. So it's a big area to look at in some detail. Same with doors. Air leakage is a big problem, and it's one of the, so the auditor is looking for weather stripping, as well as if it's a glazed door, is it shaded? What's the quality of the glazing? And if it's a solid door, is it an insulated door, or is it truly a solid door? Skylights. The shaft wall. There's 2 pictures about skylights in here. This first one is just to. This person is using an infrared camera, and that isn't necessary all the time. It's not a part of the standard. We will add it later, but it's not a part of the standard right now. It's a good idea. We'd like to see people use them. What he's doing, he's looking at the shaft walls of the skylight, because it's very frequently the case that insulation is missing there, or there are large air entry points associated with these shaft walls, and that's what he's using the infrared camera to look at. Is he's looking for heat gain that shouldn't be there. In that particular case, he was seeing it, but it's hard to read on his camera. So another thing that the auditor will frequently do when he's looking at skylights, this is a case where there's not so much a shaft wall as just the entry point from the roof. He's using a smoke pencil. The blower door is running, and he's using the smoke pencil to see if there's air leakage around the skylight. If there's air leakage, there's a high probability that there's also going to be some moisture problem. It's an opportunity for moisture entry also. In looking at the ceilings, we're going to look at attics in a second. We haven't done that yet, right? No. We're going to look at attics in a second. But in looking at ceilings, one of the things that you'd like to do is seal up any openings into an attic space or into intra-floor space. And here's a case where somebody added what we're looking at, the flat surface that we're looking at here is a ceiling. The open space in between the gypsum board and the stud framing up there, somebody has dropped a ceiling down there to get a better surface, and what they've done is they've left this huge gap between the end of the duct boot and the ceiling surface. So instead of having the duct boot attached to your ceiling so that all of the air from the duct is in fact flowing into the space you're trying to condition, what this person is getting is they're getting a very well-conditioned space right above their ceiling. So a lot of wasted energy, probably a lot of happy squirrels. Again, about ceilings, one of the most frequent problems that we see, there's just been an explosion in the last 10 years of the use of recessed can lights. So if you don't have a sealed or a rated for low flow can light, then the chances are you have somewhere around 10 cubic feet per minute of air just passing into the space above, into the attic space, or from the attic space into your conditioned space. It's a very expensive luxury. One of the things that some people who come to the house for free audits don't spend much time in the attic. And attics are uncomfortable, and they can be dirty. But it's really important to spend time up there. Now this is a new house, relatively speaking. It's new, in any case the insulation is new, but one of the things that you can see is that insulation was put there before there was a cap, and the truth is, the plan was there was never going to be a cap on this chase. And it is frequently the case when you go into an attic space that you will see chases or holes, pipes basically, that run through the building. And it might be the whole length of a wall that was double framed to make space for plumbing, for instance, in one section. Or it may be that it is in fact a chase, a closet that's above a water heater, for instance, that goes all the way through the house. Or a closet and a chase that was made to deliver ducts to different layers of the house. Those holes air is very unselective about where it goes. It finds a hole, it goes through the hole. Its intention is to go from constrained to open and from hot to cold. So it's looking for ways, air is going to come from the attic into and throughout the walls and into all the rooms of your house. Another thing that you find frequently in attics, or an auditor will find frequently in attics, is disconnected ventilation equipment. These are both bathroom vents. The first one on the left just had the vent pipe disconnected. The one on the right just had the vent. It's probably, you can't see it here, but it's probably the case that there's a louver in the attic where there's ultraviolet light being admitted into the attic, and that plastic in time deteriorates in ultraviolet. So that that duct, just plastic duct, just completely disintegrated, and now that moisture is being taken out of the bathroom, but into the attic, and has the potential to damage the structural members of the attic, of the roof. Roofs, the auditor is looking for, besides, this is a nice picture of a good even installation of a fiberglass, a blown fiberglass insulation, but that insulation needs to stay even, and in order to be kept that way, it needs to, we want it to go all the way out to the edge, and in order to keep it that way, you need to make sure that the, what those panels here indicate, these barriers indicate, is somebody thoughtfully provided an opening for soffit vents to feed the roof line, and so air can come through the soffit vent up to the roof and be admitted out the ridge, or